Caleb Williams gets real about his relationship with Ben Johnson, and I'm not going to lie to y'all. What he said filled me with a lot of hope. We'll talk a little bit about that and why Bears fans needs to chill. There are no big names coming, and this is the team that we're riding with. Should be a little bit excited about. We're going to talk about it all and more on today's Chicago Bears Central.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
Tuning in, I almost said Locked On Bulls, to Chicago Bears Central. We got Big Kev, Bobby, C-Dub, myself, Haize in the building. Fellas, we got some things to get into, man. We are getting closer and closer and closer to the season started. I can't wait because I'm ready to talk about some football. But with that said, one of the most important things with this Bears team now is the relationship between Ben Johnson and with Caleb Williams. And Caleb Williams was on a show, I forgot the name of the show that he was on, in which he talked about the relationship. It was at Fanatics Fest, actually. And he said this: Ben Johnson is great, and it's not just Ben. We have a young staff / old staff, and we have a bunch of experience, bunch of new energy provided by the coaches and players. It's been awesome. Ben Johnson, he uses some choice words every day towards me. He's tough, and I love him. He's awesome. It's great being around him. We hang out in his office, and we just have lunch sometimes, things like that. We're building this bond and relationship to be able to last a while. I know Bears fans, it's year after year typically, or every other year, where coaches and quarterbacks specifically are in and out, and our goal is to be here for a while. That last part, the fact of the awareness of Caleb Williams to even say, hey, I know y'all change quarterbacks and coaches every other year, but us two, we plan to be here for a little while. How do you feel about hearing this from Caleb Williams in regards to his relationship with Ben?
It makes me feel very great, man. Feels very good. Caleb Williams is a very self-aware young man, and I think that's one of the special qualities that he has. He knows that it's been fucked up in the city of Chicago when it comes to the quarterback position and the coaching position, if you want to add that in as well. And he's actively trying to change that by building a relationship that can last forever, like Keith Sweat.
I hate Keith Sweat. I know you don't. We've never talked about this. I hate Keith Sweat. That's literally the worst.
Wait. Now, Keith Sweat singing leaves a lot to be desired, but his pen game is on.
Yes. Now I can acknowledge his songwriting ability. His voice, nigga. If I wanted to hear somebody whining, I could do that shit in the shower. Keith Sweat, nigga be whining, bro. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, you ain't get caught up or nothing. You ain't have to play. You ain't gonna get caught or nothing. That's what the problem is.
Oh my goodness,
that man funny.
You got to beg to come back, baby. Come on, please.
No, I ain't been caught in nothing. I don't do shit. Anyway, keep it going, C-Dub. My bad.
But yeah, that is the great. When you look at the past great like dynasties in the NFL, look at the relationships to a pace, though, because when you look at Tom and Bill Belichick at the end, they kind of wanted to probably unalive.
But you know what? That's why every relationship has an end date, and I feel like they had a lot of success, but they was ready. They was both ready to go. So
you can look at KC too with Patrick and the coach over there. So it's very important if you want to build success for a sustained time in a franchise. If the quarterback and the head coach are on the same accord, they pretty much got to be best fucking friends. I ain't gonna lie to you. It could be fake best friends, but you gotta be best friends, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, you definitely gotta have a good understanding. So that's why I'm liking this stuff, because it's a lot of people come in and then they act like, you know what I'm saying, all the stuff didn't happen back then. But this man right here, Caleb Williams, has embraced the city. That's why I was like, bro, when that story came out about what was said in the book and people was just complaining, they was just finding something to complain about. And we scolded them and cooked them already and let them know that they was just pretty much stupid. But I got to echo some of the same stuff that C-Dub said, is that like, hey, if we want sustained success, we got to have a good quarterback and head coach relationship. I'm not saying they have to be best friends, but they got to have a good working relationship to where we can get the damn job done and win football games. Because I crave to have a Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid type relationship. For my team, a Bill Belichick, Tom Brady. Hell, a Peyton Manning and Tony Dungy relationship. Something that's going to get us some damn playoff games, into some playoff games, get us some playoff victories, and get us some championships in this damn city, because we need it. I wasn't even born in 85. So I need to see some championships in the Bulls. We ain't going to talk about that. But I love that Caleb is self-aware. He's understanding what's at hand. And I love he always throwing shade at Green Bay. And the damn coaches throwing shade at Green Bay. And y'all already know, outside of the NFL Central, where I got to be a bit objective, ain't no objectivity when it comes to Green Bay on here. Because fuck them. So they suck, just like Caleb Williams said.
It was like listening to Tchaikovsky when you were talking about what Caleb Williams had to say. It was music to my ears to hear what my man was saying, because you got to be aware of the past to move forward. Like, you can't just ignore the things that have happened. And I think the best thing about Caleb Williams is that he has a pulse of what the fans think about the Chicago Bears. He's not just ignoring the history of the Chicago Bears, including what was said about him in the book. That's a big thing. You got to consider all options when you're trying to make it to your profession. He wants to be a professional football player. You can't ignore the history of the Chicago Bears quarterback situation if you want to be the Chicago Bears quarterback. As far as what you guys were saying about the coach and quarterback relationship, now more than ever, it has to have a symbiotic appeal to it. Back in the day, a lot of teams relied on defense, the running game. This is a quarterback's league right now. If you look at every team that's contenders, the Buffalo Bills, the Baltimore Ravens, the Cincinnati Bengals, all of those guys have top-tier offenses, top-tier quarterbacks, and Caleb Williams, he's not ignorant of that. He knows that he's going to have to get to the next level with a great coach. You can tell that the last few coaches that came through here, they weren't going to barbecues with their quarterbacks. They weren't going to baby showers. They weren't invited to weddings and things like that. They just didn't have those types of relationships with their quarterbacks. Justin Fields wasn't kicking it with Eberflus. Like they didn't have that type. You could tell they weren't real friends. They were workmates. They were coworkers. Right now, you got to get past just being coworkers. And I'm excited to see if the Chicago Bears can build that type of relationship, not just with Ben Johnson, but what Caleb Williams said, the rest of the coaching staff, older and younger, is definitely music to my ears for sure.
I'm just glad that we didn't have to have Nick Saban to come in and tell Ben Johnson the importance of the relationship between the head coach and the quarterback. I'm just happy about that personally.
Bro, that was the most unnecessary appearance I've ever seen in a Hard Knocks. Like,
that was just a flex.
Where'd that come from?
It was a flex.
You just tried to show us that you got him in your call log, huh? Okay.
Whatever. Yeah, but he didn't call it. Well, he should have been calling his asses during the fucking season when he didn't know how to use the fucking timeout. Right. My question is, was Nick Saban calling you? Where were your antennas when you saw your boy not calling fucking timeouts? Like, where was your antennas then? Nonetheless, I'm sorry.
Nick Saban said, "Don't call me now."
Nick Saban said, "I ain't got nothing to do with that shit." Like,
I'm retired.
Yeah.
Hey, Kevin Warren and Mike McCaskey and all them guys put to the side. Ben Johnson is the president of the Chicago Bears, like, of shit that really matters, to play on the field. And I think the vice president has to be Caleb Williams. He's the next most important guy, if you really want to break it down in this system. So they both have to be on the same accord. What happened if the president and the vice president ain't on the same accord? I was about to start.
No, first I just want to know, why the hell did you pull Mike McCaskey out? Like, Mike McCaskey had been involved with the Bears for almost 15 years.
Yeah, he's been out of there.
Oh shit! Dude. I forgot. What's the son name?
George now, bro.
George. George. Then.
I was like, when did Mike come back? What happened? Did I miss something?
They don't all look alike. It's George though.
No, they do kind of look alike though. Mike Hedge is wider. They do kind of look alike.
Hey, they say. Never mind. I'll tell y'all later. That's crazy.
Yeah,
it's basketball related. So
okay.
Yeah.
But with anything left on the Caleb Ben Johnson relationship before we move into the next one?
Yeah, I just hope, and the most important thing that I like is that Caleb Williams is owning up and taking the coaching style of Ben Johnson. I think that's absolutely necessary, and I hope that he understands that though he's coaching you hard, you still got to go out there and put some results up, bro. And I hope he can deliver that, because and then you stay on top of yourself. You stay on top of that because we need victors.
That's a fact. That's a fact. We'll see. This is going to be the backbone of what this coaching staff and this next era of the Bears football is built around, this relationship between Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams. I'm glad to hear that they're just hanging out and just building that relationship, and we'll see how we benefit from that going forward. But before we get out of here today, I threw this on here because I wanted to talk about this because I was in a Twitter conversation over the weekend with somebody who was like, the Bears aren't serious. They didn't get J.K. Dobbins or Nick Chubb. And then the Trey Hendrickson shit still pops up from day to day. I need everybody to realize this. The Bears ain't making a move for a big name. They feel confident in what they have here. Now, we'll see what the results end up being in that. But while I'm here with my brothers, I want to hear from you how you guys feel. It does not feel like the Bears are about to make a move for any type of name between now and maybe if something crazy happens in training camp, but it really does feel like this team is content with what they have, and they're going to try to develop it, use it, and figure out the identity of this team over the course of the season. How you guys feeling?
Definitely. I agree with you 100%. I think the Chicago Bears is content with what they have now. They feel like they've sewed some wounds on that offensive line. They feel like they got weapons for Caleb. They feel like they got some players in here to compete on the defensive line and on the defensive side of the ball. I feel like they feeling good, and they want to see what they got in front of them, at least into training camp. And then if things ain't working out to plan, then they might do something else. But I think they are good at what they at right now.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. I think that everybody just want these big names to constantly enter the city of Chicago, and I just personally don't believe that's necessary right now. I believe that I think that the way I analyze it, at least for a lot of teams, you want to have a good mix of veterans with young players to be successful until, you know what I'm saying, you feel like there's an absolute need to swing for the fences. I don't necessarily look at a move for Trey Hendrickson making sense right now for the Chicago Bears, simply because we already put money into Deo, and that's Dennis Allen's guy, and we know Dennis Allen is a capable defensive coordinator who was just previously a head coach. And then when it comes to the running back room, you still have money invested in DeAndre Swift and J.K. Dobbins. He was injured with the Chargers. He was injured with the Ravens. And now you got young guys. You already got a guy that's been injured in Rojo. And now you got some young guys behind him that can come in and fill the void. And you want to see what they could provide you before you pivot too fast. Sometimes a lot of people, they just love to get into the trade talk, get into the free agent acquisitions. Man, just hold on. We not even into training camp right now. Even while in training camp, I still believe you should be giving your young guys an opportunity to prove themselves until you have more information. A lot of us, we want to pivot so fast and just act like J.K. Dobbins was going to come up here and just, push us to a playoff, a playoff appearance. No, it doesn't work like that. You still have to have a team that can compete. And then you just can't say to hell with Monangai if you haven't even seen him in NFL action. You took him for a reason. Who cares he was drafted in the 7th round? What the hell is he going to do when the pads come on? You have to sit there and analyze those type of things. Let's have a little bit more patience with this.
And that's crazy, Bobby. Telling the Chicago Bears fan to have patience is like weird because we got no choice.
But it's not with wins. It's just with
I'm just saying in general, we have to be patient. As Bears fans, we got no choice but to be patient. That's part of being a Bears fan. The two positions that we're discussing involving J.K. Dobbins and Hendrickson, right? I believe defensively the Bears feel as though they have enough in that room to develop and or push the players that they already have to new heights. They revamped the coaching room, so we're going to see what that means. You don't want to mortgage your future going after a guy like Hendrickson. You're going to have to give up picks to get a guy like Hendrickson. So there's no reason to do something like that. We're finally getting into the position where we got first-round picks every year now, as opposed to years past where we traded first-round picks to try to get other players. There's no need to do that. The running back position in the NFL is the most expendable position on the field. I don't care what you're talking about. I don't care who it is back there. You'll see a player. Look at the guy that was running for the LA Rams 2 or 3, 4 years ago. He's retired now. He's barely 30. Todd Gurley. He was the bee's knees. He's on the top of everybody's running back list. Everybody drafted him in fantasy, and that lasted for like 2 years. everybody can't beat, and even Christian McCaffrey is on his way out. I'm sorry, but he's always hurt. But everybody can't beat Adrian Peterson. Everybody can't beat Emmitt Smith. You're not going to find running backs that's going to be an anchor in your backfield for more than 2 or 3 seasons these days, for the most part. There are some, but it's not going to happen. So when it comes down to J.K. Dobbins and Nick Chubb, come on now, stop it. You can churn out solid running backs from the 7th round, 3rd round, 2nd round. If we were having this conversation 2 or 3 months ago when we were looking at the draft board and it was a bunch of running backs available, that's a different conversation. The draft is over with now. There's no reason to still be clamoring for a so-called upgrade in the running backs room when you have DeAndre Swift. You still got Rojo. You still got the pick that you just drafted in the 7th round. Bears fans are thirsty, and it's rightfully so. There's nothing wrong with being thirsty to put out a solid product on the field, top to bottom. But at the end of the day, back to the original point, we have to see what we have in order to understand what we need.
I think it's even irrational to ask for you guys to have some patience. Like, it's obvious of what moves we made in this offseason and in the draft. Like, it'll be obvious to see what these kids can do before we make any other moves. I mean, that's obvious, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. It is what it is. We shall see what's going to happen and what the team does and what they identify as the biggest needs for the team. But as it stands right now, I think that they are content with what they have. And that doesn't mean they're just going to settle, but I think they're going to really give an opportunity. And I think that's also a bet on their coaching staff. That's a bet on the offensive line. There's a bet on those type of things. As far as the DN, I said it. Like, once they gave Deo the contract they gave him, that's not a contract you give for somebody that you don't have high belief in.
Right.
Yeah.
They believe in Deo Odeyingbo. Period.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And others, Booker from last year. Austin Booker, right?
Yeah, Austin Booker too. Yeah, he was the one. Somebody called him as the Bears' biggest breakout candidate. So we shall see there, and Daniel Hardy for that matter. If we're talking about the depth pieces, I think that they have a lot of faith in those guys going to be taking a step up. So
yeah, I just bet it's just hey, you just got to see what you have. They made a lot of moves. And to Kev's point earlier, we come from a GM in the past that was just mortgaging the future of the first round picks and acting like as if those things are not valuable. If you look at some of the best teams around the league, they don't give up their first round picks like for nothing. They really have. You look at the Eagles, you look at the Chiefs, the teams that are always in that mode. You know what I'm saying? These guys are big on development and keeping their blue chip pieces. If you Tyreek Hill and you think that you want to get this, hey, we're going to keep our first round pick and we're going to draft the wide receiver coming up. And we're going to trust that our program can develop a top wide receiver, which they're still trying to figure out, but they still won championships after that. I think the last time you really seen somebody go really all in and say, F them picks was the Los Angeles Rams. But guess what? They went and then moved those players that helped them win the championship to recuperate those picks. And guess what they got in their bag now? All those damn picks back again. So it's just not, you don't want to just give up picks and money like Ryan Pace did. And then when people get injured, it's hard to pivot and maneuver in another way so you can have sustained success. We can't be trying to move too fast.
This is not Madden. Somebody said it
in
the
short.
comments.
In
This
short,
is not Madden. And then on Madden, it happened in the franchise mode. It happened all the time. You be like, man, I can't re-sign none of my players. And I ain't got no picks to trade to get no other players. So we got to think about big picture with these things, especially at the running back position. Like, I can't stress it enough. That running back position is huge, and it's also expendable. You can move people. It's interchangeable, in my opinion. Yeah. You can put pretty much anybody back there. If they have a skill set, they'll be able to get it, especially with 17 games. You can get 1,000 yards. It's 1,000-yard rusher pretty much on every team these days, no matter where they were drafted.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And he was almost there last year under a bad offensive play calling and a bad offensive line. I think Swift with Monangai, Rojo, I think we're going to have a solid attack. I'm not going to call it like somebody said the other day. It's like we can have a top 5. Well, no, they said offense, so that's not fair. But like I just need if the running game could just be top 15, I think that's fine for where we are right now.
We need both the running back. I mean the running game and the offense in general. The passing game to both be top 15, top 10.
Well, we need the offense and defense, I think, both overall to be top 12 if we can get it. But yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be just the running game. But yeah.
To everybody mentioning
Right,
KD to the
everybody
Houston Rockets.
confident.
We already went live on it. Y'all got to catch up with the times.
Yeah.
Y'all
Get
confident
y'all
in
stuff,
Swift,
man.
huh?
Go to NBA Central. Check out the episode we did 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Let's see. He the most temporary, permanent starter in a running back room. DeAndre Swift. I'm not sure about DeAndre, bro. I'm just not.
No, he got some skills.
I'm sure of him in the sense that I think he's fully equipped to do what we need him to do this year because of the offensive line. I'm not saying he needs to be here 2-3 years. I'm not saying you can't upgrade from him next offseason. I'm just saying that this year, I feel that he's going to be good enough to do what we need done.
Especially with the offensive line upgrade.
Yeah.
I think the first time we find something better than DeAndre Swift, either in this training camp, during the season, I don't know.
I think he's gonna be well.
I think he's good, but I think you can find better.
But you ain't getting not right now. The better you had probably was your draft, but they was still gonna keep him around. It's still too much money invested in him. He's not going nowhere right now.
Yeah,
that's true.
All right. Anything left, fellas, before we get up out of here?
Yeah, drink lots of water. It's hot in Chicago right now.
Boy, we're about to go jump in the water. They in the pool in the back.
See, Doug gonna be 3 shades darker the next time we see him.
Going outside? What the hell?
We will be.
He said, "What the hell?"
I love that he said it's not that it can't happen. He just said he's not gonna go outside.
Right.
Not going outside.
Come back looking like a charcoal brisket. But,
y'all, in August last year, C-Dub and his skin and his facial hair were the same color.
You obviously that's a lie because you guys are looking at me on the.
I said last year.
I'm the same fucking guy.
No, nigga, that's a fucking lie, bro. That's a fucking lie.
That's a fucking lie.
No, bro, your ass got darker. Like literally, bro. There was times where I could, if you weren't cheesing so much, I wouldn't even be able to see.
It's a color difference.
NBA
Y'all ain't that fucking blind.
Watch Game 7 with us over on NBA Central and playback, man.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all following us at Shy Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We're the #1 spot for everything Chicago.